What's that? Oh, what's that? What the hell is that?
Excuse me, I am a human being.
What's that?
It's the species that both you and I are.
And what is that?
A species is like a classification. Who are you?
Oh, nice to meet you. I'm Cotton.
Nice is a strong word.
Ladies, gentlemen, and masters of all ages, welcome one and all to a brand new world full of excitement from left to right and from up to down now too, as we have full access to the verticality that we've always wanted. What a time to be alive, really. Well, the weapons are all new and fancy and brand spanking fantastic. I know each and every one of you who has the demo is whetting your appetite against the monsters. Hunting the monsters, slaying the monsters, riding the monsters, all of that good stuff. And as such, there are a few things that you may have missed in the world around you with your focus so tunnelly visioned. Like the world around you itself, the map, the shrine ruins. Now, we have seen a good chunk of this area in bits and pieces from content released by Capcom over the last couple of months, but this is the first time that we have an opportunity to explore all of it by our lonesome. Full control, and so that's precisely what I did, and precisely what I found. You can go almost anywhere that you can see, with the exception being the edges of the map itself, except for a couple of specific places. A good majority of the endemic life on this map will stay precisely the same from run to run. Rather than being randomized, it is in predictable places. And as the hunters we are with our new toolkits, we have new ways of using said creatures. One of these creatures is the ever-useful Great Wirebug, which sends you flying super far once you've set it up at an applicable location. Many others you can pick up and bring with you to use as items for massive advantages in combat. So today, I'll be bringing you through, in order, every Great Wirebug that is in the Shrine Ruins, then I'll bring you through every cageable endemic life in the Shrine Ruins, as in the ones that you can pick up and bring with you in your cage, and then finally I'll take you to any cool places or notable features or shortcuts of the map that I have found from my exploration, including the very tip of the mountain itself. It's worth noting that most of these things can be seen on your new detailed map. However, some of them can be a bit difficult to find for the first time just because of all of the different levels of elevation. Starting off with all of the Great Wirebugs, then, in the camp, right behind the tent, there is a Great Wirebug that flings you to the top of the giant dog statue beside the camp. The dog statues are really neat. I love the aesthetic that they bring. There's a couple other dog statues in other places, but you know, they're nice to have around. Then there are no Great Wirebugs in Zone 1 or 3. However, in Zone 2, to the right of the waterfall, there is one Great Wirebug that flings you up the rest of the waterfall, and then there is also one beside it that flings you to the top of the cliffs that are in Zone 2. In Zone 4, a pattern starts to emerge. Here is a Great Wirebug that flings you up towards another Great Wirebug, which then flings you up this cliff towards Zone 5 up the mountain. Make sure that you do press the A button on this second Great Wirebug in this chain, or else you'll just fly off into the wall for no reason, looking like an idiot in front of thousands of people. Why do I suck at this game? Then over at the southern edge of Zone 6 at the top of the waterfall is a Great Wirebug that shoots you up over the mountain towards Zone 5. This puts you on a bit of a path forwards, which if you walk a little bit more, you will find another Great Wirebug, which when you activate, will activate another second Great Wirebug in the chain. This is another chain one, you go up twice and you land directly in Zone 5. Zone 5 is super elevated on the map, being right near the top of this mountain, so it seemed that they felt the need to give us lots and lots of options to get up here just a little bit quicker, which is really nice. 3 Great Wirebugs can get you here. 3 feels like the right amount. Perfect! Moving on to the north side of Zone 7 then, in the tiny little walled off village over here, there is a Great Wirebug that sends you directly across the gap to the mountain on the west side of Zone 7, placing you 5 feet away from another Great Wirebug that flings you back to Zone 5. Zone 5? But that's the last one, the last Zone 5 related Great Wirebug, I promise. Zone 8 has no Great Wirebugs, but things start to get a little bit more interesting on the northern part of the map. If you're in the river area that connects Zone 6 with Zone 13, right on this little island in the middle is a Great Wirebug that flings you over the cliff into Zone 10. If instead of taking that one, you go a bit northeast of where that was, you can find another combo of Great Wirebugs sending you up the cliffs to Zone 13 a little bit easier than it is otherwise. At the western edge of Zone 10 is one that flings you up this little cliff, then in Zone 13 to the east we have a Great Wirebug that sends you up a short cliff near where the Brewhare likes to hang out. And then rounding this all off, we have a trio of Great Wirebugs close together in Zone 9. Firstly, at ground level at the north of the zone, there is one that sends you up the cliff right in front of you, and then a bit further up from there is one that sends you all the way to the peak of that particular mountain. Then if you go back to the ground level of Zone 9, just a little bit west of where the original one was here, this will also send you halfway up the cliff. That's it, bug-wise, though it is worth noting that in the demo we only have access to 5 great wirebugs per player, and they do seem to persist through hunts, meaning for the length of the demo you can only have 5 of these active, and once you activate them, they're active forever. And once you choose them, you can't change your mind. In the full game, I imagine you'll be able to farm these to your heart's content, just have all of them active forever, but for now, for the duration of the demo, be a little bit more considerate with which ones you choose to activate, which should be much easier now that I've shown you where each of them sends you. Make your decisions wisely. Moving on to the nature portion of our show, it's time to cage up some harmless, happy creatures in order to force them into dangerous situations against incredibly powerful creatures. But where doth these creatures lie upon thine map? Well, here we go, one zone at a time. There are some trap bugs on the left side of this Stonehenge-looking structure in Zone 1. On the cliffs between Zone 1 and Zone 2, at the southern side, there is a stinky mink. Up near the west edge of the cliffs there is an escargot. And then at the top of the same cliffs at the north end is a fire beetle, whose fiery surprise can really do a number on a monster. Actually, multiple numbers, ticking in quick succession. At the southern end of Zone 6, just at the top of the waterfall, is an Antidobra, the ironically curing snake. And then on the eastern side of the same zone, Zone 6, if you climb a good portion of the way up this cliff, you'll find yourself a puppet spider, which is somehow a cute spider. I don't normally find spiders cute or anything even remotely close to cute, but this thing definitely is cute. It's worth noting that this area is actually really easy to get to from where the fire beetle was over here. It's a nicely created path to travel for a couple of powerful creatures. Moving over to Zone 4 then, on the eastern edge there is a stinky mink just chilling, doing nothing in particular. Speaking of which, up in the rocks nearby, which are the western cliffs of Zone 3, there is a snow beetle, which is pretty cool if I say so myself. I'll stop now. If you then head to the west side of Zone 7 and climb up to the top of this cliff, follow the path south a little bit and you can grab yourself a whale nard. Again, a little climbing on the western edge of Zone 7, more or less up to the same place that you started your path to the whale nard, but instead of going south this time, just go north. And in front of you will be a stink mink, waiting there giving you the mink eye. I mean the stink eye. Hopefully you don't get pink eye. I'm a pink guy. And thus my rap career ended. In between Zone 7 and 8, at the end of this path, up the mountain is another group of trap bugs. And then right up near the cliff at the southern side of Zone 8 at ground level is another stinky mink. Yes, I know that they're actually called stink mink. Stinky mink is just funner to say. Remember this spot, it'll come up again later because it's awesome. Up in Zone 10, we have a mud beetle gathering mud from the riverbank. Then at the western edge of Zone 9, after a short climb, you can find yourself another escargot. Then on the south edge of Zone 9, just outside of the gate, you can climb up here and find yourself an escargot to the south. And then another Antidobra just a little bit north of that. Directly in the center of Zone 9, you will find yourself a thunder beetle. And then north of that is a path up to a cliff to reach your very own Blastoad. A bit further up of that path, and a short climb up, is another stink mink. And hey, you're in Zone 12 now! That said, if you were already in Zone 12 beforehand, this one is much easier to find. If you go to the southwest edge of Zone 12 and take another short climb, you'll come face to face with a Brewhare, nature's alcoholic. In Zone 13, at the base of this destroyed building, is one more Antidobra. Southeast of that, in the passageway that connects Zone 13 to Zone 10, is one more stinky mink, just sitting on the side, doing nothing in particular. And then if you wrap back around to the river between Zone 13 and Zone 6, you will catch a poison toad sitting on the tiny island in the middle. Bam! That's all of the set location endemic life. There are, however, also bushes that look like this that pop up throughout the map occasionally. Colorful and full of flowers, they're pretty recognizable. Sometimes they can be hiding endemic life that isn't normally there. One time I found a Blastoad under one of them. It's not there regularly, you couldn't see it on the map. It just happened to be hiding there. Sometimes when you attack one of these bushes, a Spira bird will come out and buff you. Generally speaking, if you see a bush like this in the wild, just walk over to it and investigate aggressively and you'll probably be rewarded. If you wanted help finding the endemic life, I'm sorry to tell you that part, that's all over. Now it's time for a visit to some of my favorite interesting places on the map that I found during my exploration process, including a few of the less obvious shortcuts. The first one that I want to show you I mentioned earlier. Remember that stinky mink in Zone 8? Well, directly behind it is a short climbable wall up to a cave entrance, which you can then enter and slide the whole way down through the mountain to be deposited on the west end of Zone 3. How freaking cool is that one? You can also climb back up the other way through the cave, but is far less fun uphill. Southwest of the exit to that cave is what appears to be the main dog shrine on the map. There are a number of little shrines that are just repeated around the place for flavor, but the shrines here, this specific one, is unique from the others on the map because of the massive collection of stone animals surrounding it and all the candles and everything to add a little atmosphere to the situation. The Stonehenge type structure in Zone 1 has some strange angular stuff going on, making it hard to climb at a glance. You physically cannot climb it from the ground with a Wirebug. However, if you go to this rock a few feet away and use a couple of Wirebugs horizontally, you can still get up there if you'd like to. If you don't want to use Wirebugs at all, you can still actually get to Zone 5 from the eastern side of Zone 8 without doing any Wirebug movement in the slightest through a nice scenic ground route. And yes, you can climb all the way to the very top of the mountain if you want to. It has a really nice viewing area outside. It's quite lovely. On the west side of the mountain, if you look at it from a bit further away, you can see a whole line of scaffolding supported housing. Okay, I don't know architecture terms, leave me alone. I just thought it looked really nice. In the back side of the camp, there is a secret tunnel that ejects you out into Zone 2 at the bottom. In Zone 11, all the way at the top right of the map, just out of reach of our movement, is a really neat looking multi-level treehouse. I wish we could go on up and explore inside of that thing, but it's simply not meant to be, at least not yet. However, under this structure at ground level, there is a wyvern nest. Not a big deal for most people, but I find egg carrying hilarious, and therefore, this is very useful to my happiness. If you then head over to Zone 13, I mentioned the mostly destroyed building at the bottom of it earlier. However, if you climb up the cliffs beside it, nearby you will find a nice little path to a wooden bridge across to another shrine. The shrine itself isn't a unique model in any means, but I just thought that this place looked really pretty, so here you go. He's not technically a part of the map, but I suppose he is on the map.
Part of the crew, part of the ship. Part of the crew, part of the ship.
Master Atsushi, the NPC who helps you out in the training hunt, is wearing armor that has bits of what appears to be Zinogre on him. This seems like as good a reason as any to think Zinogre is coming back in Rise. I guess it was pretty likely, to be honest, given his history as a creature, the way that he fits into the aesthetics, and the fact that everyone just really fucking loves him and wants him to come back. But seeing this in the game makes it almost certain that he will be around, because if he isn't directly here in this region, he's at least nearby enough that this guy is able to hunt him and wear parts of him. And that just about covers it, everyone. There are tons of smaller buffs and spirit birds all over the place, but these are all of the major things that will have a larger effect on your hunting experience in the Shrine runes, along with some nice little secrets and places a little bit less traveled on the map. If, however, you know where you want to go and the issue is you just don't know how to get up there, well, keep your eyes peeled tomorrow for our Wirebug movement guide as I swing through the world at the speed of sound. Keep in mind, any and all of this is subject to change come the release of the actual game, as this was all done in the demo, and other than that, like if you liked the video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet. This is the brand new outro to tell you all the things that you do that we love, so let's start with something simple and say, oh, we love your eyes. When they're watching us play video games, when we make a bunch of jokes that are kinda lame, or when they gaze upon our failures as we try to kill the monsters or important news about the kingdom Animalia. Rage, Continent, Hollow, we're all here, talking about the things you want to hear, so if you want to be the first to hear, like and subscribe and the bell and we'll cheer. Some of you are patrons even though we are all the noobs and you're the pros, there's nothing we can do to thank you. No, really, there's nothing we could possibly do. Goodbye.